Mr. Dyer, you have 2 minutes.
The children exclaimed, "What about love?" I'm saying, what about equity? If you allow Thomasville to close, throw your strategic, plant facilities plan in the garbage. Because this precedent that you're setting with Thomasville, when you allow a purpose-built contractor to make a decision on a tax-paid building, then you have no credibility. That is the greatest inequity of all, and you're supposed to have a department that's supposed to look at that. There's stability. Stability for children is very important. If a child leaves an elementary school and go to middle school, they feel some kind of way about the old school. So imagine children who are attending a school and they haven't completed their cycle, and now you're shutting the door on them, especially after their building has been condemned. And the children have been living those conditions for a long period of time. So if you have any type of heart, you give those children some time to heal. And what about the solution of working with that low student teacher population? If Purpose Built is the group that's supposed to run it, why are they throwing in the towel if they have an effective system to bring those young people up to par? But I guess they don't. You work with the low student teacher ratio, then that's a recruitment tool when they plan to rebuild a place where you get more students to come in. That impacts Carver, that impacts Slater, that impacts all those schools. But you see, development is the name of the game. They use black boys and girls as scapegoats for failure to usher in development. Time and time again. Now, I know you're new here, but it's amazing how they bring superintendents here to ruin their careers. I'm against any type of school closure, especially coming out of a pandemic. The numbers that your group, that Sizemore group brought in here, totally inaccurate. All of the white schools are full capacity. All of the black schools, low capacity. But yet, that's where the development is happening. If you're looking at statistics in ARC, they're talking about growth. So I would say reevaluate, get involved, because your blood is on your hands if Thomasville closed, and you're going to hear from the community. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this concludes public comment.
And welcome to Exposed. I'm your host, Nathaniel Dyer. Happy to be invited into your homes once again as we tackle the issues of education and just the issues around it, why our children are given such a bad break in the scenario, and how we can make an impact and a change to correct these type of scenarios. I have a special guest on tonight. He's PTA president of Slater Elementary School, and his name is Mr. Bernard Arnold. Welcome, Mr. Arnold.
Hey, how everybody doing tonight? Glad to be here.
Hey, I'm doing great, doing fantastic. What about yourself?
I'm doing just fine.
Okay. And I'll tell you, introduce yourself to the viewers.
Okay. I'm Bernard Arnold. I have a son that goes to Slater Elementary. He just turned 10 years old yesterday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And we've been at Slater since kindergarten, and I've been the PTA president. I thought it's coming up on 4 years since second grade. I started in his I started in first grade. I'm sorry. First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. Now we're going to fifth grade next year. So it'll be 5 years as PTA president. So I've been there from the ground. I saw the school change from our old principal, Miss Bostic. It was crazy the way the school was when I first got there. The only reason I let my son stay there was because he had a great teacher in kindergarten.
Okay.
And another great teacher in first grade and second grade, because I started learning too. I was following the pattern. Since my son was one of the kids that excelled in school, they always had the best teacher lined up for him for the next year. So I didn't get a chance to be exposed to all the other teachers that weren't really as efficient. But once our new principal came in, Principal Dyer, she came in and she changed the culture of the school. She's been there. She had been there 2 years. They forced her to resign a few weeks ago. She had been there for the first 2 years. The first year was when we first went into COVID, almost toward the end of the year. And the next year we was full online. And this year was kind of getting back to normal finally, because we was finally back in the building. So I saw the programs that she had put in place. They were working with the kids like in person. Everything was changing. I looked online, saw stats for, but I also had the information that my principal was sharing with me as far as like the MAP test. In the MAP test, we scored like the highest 90 percentile over the whole country, which was a great improvement. And we had never seen those kind of growth spurts, since I've been there. And it was awesome. And you can tell that it was basically about the teachers and the staff making connections with the parents and connecting with the kids on a one-on-one level. Everybody, like, if you're a parent and you go to Slater, as soon as you walk through the double doors in the front, everybody calling your name. They saying good morning, hey to your kids. They know your kid's name. Everybody, the whole staff know it's like family. It was like family until Greg Gianelli made a decision to do what was called a merger of Thomasville Heights Elementary with our school, and we lost, as far as next year, we'll lose 50 people that were in our building this year won't be there next year. And that includes our principal, vice principal, our emotional counselors for the kids that were familiar with the kids that had problems and issues. So we lost a lot this year.
I see.
And
So,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, and they were saying that they were picking the best of the best, but they only have 80 students, and we had like 400 and some kids. Like, so why do we lose most of our staff that's familiar with our kids to support 80 kids? And that's not a problem because we will welcome the kids in anyway. But we already had something that was working. I feel like they was bringing Thomasville Principal Miles over to our school because he walks the walk and he don't try to cross the line when it comes to them approaching him about doing things, and because they really want to run that school like a factory.
Right.
They don't want it to be personable. They don't want the community in the school. And he's that guy. He doesn't want to engage with the parents. He don't want to engage with the community. So they got the principal, Greg Gianelli, got the principal that he wanted. The parents didn't get the principal that they wanted. Okay.
And thank you for that, Mr. Arnold, or what you want me to call it, Bernard or Mr. Arnold?
Bernard is just fine.
Right. Yeah, Bernard. And to give some background on who Greg Gianelli is, he's the representative from Purpose Built. Say the CEO of Purpose Built Schools, and his role is he's a contractor. Purpose Built is a contractor of several schools.
Right.
That would be Price, Carver, some components of Carver, Thomasville Elementary, and Slater. And really his role is to enhance and improve the schools.
Right.
But with what you explained, his actions are counter to that.
Right.
And that's troubling.
Yes, because I noticed too, the first year we were still Atlanta Public Schools when Bernard started. And the second year we went to Purpose Built, and Purpose Built came in and they sold everybody a dream, and they was throwing money at the kids, and we had all kind of activities. We had money to do whatever we wanted to do.
Right.
And it seemed like an awesome program. And then after they got everybody engaged with the school, the money pulled back. Everything stopped. As of this year, when my principal was still in there, Miss Kemp, we were two teachers short, and she called over to Thomasville to see if she could get two teachers to sit in for our teachers that was out, and they wouldn't even send them over.
Isn't that something? In the same
So
cluster.
Right. So two classes basically had substitute teachers all year. So how well would they, education be for the year? It wouldn't be. It's
Right.
not the same. Yeah.
So basically, Slater was on track to success. Now,
Right.
Of course, this show is talking about the failing grades that exist within Atlanta Public Schools. And
Right.
and Slater is one of those schools that has an F grade. But
Right.
what you explained and what people need to understand, just because a school is given an F grade doesn't mean that it's the children that's the failure.
No.
I mean, you just described its leadership and administration that's pretty much the failure. The children are capable and ready, but when they want to block the community out and create scenarios for failure, well, then what are the children and the parents to do?
Right.
And heavily invested. You have a son that goes there. You thought about taking your child out, and you stuck with it. And you're the PTA president. Really, one of the only functioning PTAs. One of them. All of it.
In the whole. Well, and especially like in our cluster, I have the only PTA, active PTA, in our whole cluster out of all our schools. And yeah, our school is a failing school by the statistics of the state, but our school was been in the corner. They called it the jewel of the cluster. They saw something great coming from Slater, and it was growing. It was fixing to be on the track to get our kids to exceed when they got to Price and Carver. They was going to be way far ahead.
So being so close to it, what's your feeling as to why they want the children to fail? They want your PTA to fail, the teachers to fail.
Well, I stay here in the Joyland community, and Greg Gianelli and this group called FCS Ministries are buying up all the properties in our neighborhood.
Okay.
I have a perfect example. Let me show it to you real fast. See this house over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. That house was a vacant house that had been vacant for 22 years. And they bought that house and they did this renovation and they fixing to put it up for sale for $780,000.
780. But basically a crack house.
Right. It was basically a guy actually was, me and my dog, I was walking my dog one day and my dog was barking and I didn't have the dog on the leash and the dog ran up to the back and it was a guy was sleeping in the house and he had died in the back of the house.
Dang.
Yeah, so but that's their goal. Their goal is to come in here and buy up this community, raise the property value so the property taxes go sky high, and let our children fail, because once that school fails, all the property just drop low, nothing. Because when I bought this house that I'm in 5 years ago, this house was $26,000, 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, and it had been totally renovated. Right. It was $26,000 house.
Right.
Now, when I looked at the value of it now you're talking about $400,000-$500,000 house.
Well, same thing happening in my neck of the woods, Washington Park, which faces Vine City, and there was a home sent to me. Looked like it may have been, the reason I use crack house because we have a lot of crack houses around here that they're converting into $1 million homes. And $10 million. $10 million. I think the house may have sold originally for 300, but the value may have been about 20,000, So I see Waukesha is there. Hello, Waukesha. She's saying, yeah, it's happening all over Atlanta, and we must do something. And that's
Yeah.
the reason we're having this conversation tonight. And we're going to go into these presentations, which Miss Adrian Coleman has put together of Square Mile Media. She did an excellent job of research and compiling this information. And this is going to give us a bird's eye view, really, with some background as to what your concrete information or background as to what you've been saying or what this show has been about. Why they use Black boys and girls as scapegoats for failure to usher in development.
Because the white people wouldn't stand for
it. They would not. But I tell you, they think that we're a bunch of chumps. And I say, hey, they got the wrong number. Numbers.
That's right. That's right. They don't expect us to show up, and we've been showing up.
We've been showing up, showing out, and that's just the beginning of the story. So
that's
to
right.
The viewing audience, hey, we're forced. Hey, but more makes it even better.
That's right.
Bernard, so we have a comment say, it's great to see Mr. Arnold's involvement in leadership in his son's school. There's this myth that Black men aren't involved in their children's lives. So
that is totally a myth. We have our principal did a thing. She called it muffins with moms and donuts for dad day.
Yeah.
Out of 380 some families, we had over 140 dads took off to come up there for donuts with dad, and the muffins for mom. They showed out too. They came up. They was right under about 90 some. But we have had our principal did a thing while we was in the Zoom last year, where the dads, each one of us would read for 30 minutes like a bedtime story to the kids.
Okay.
We had over 200 dads participate in it.
Wow, that is great.
So Black dads do show up if you invite them in.
Right.
If you invite them in, if you I see it now, the way things going now, I see it's more dads that's like me, that's single dads raising kids, and the mom's absent now, which I don't want to see that on any stretch of the imagination, but I applaud everybody to listen. Please, let's get back to the Black family, the strong foundation of mom and dad in these houses. We need that. We need that foundation back.
Yeah, I agree. And if you can't be cordial, at least put the children first.
Co-parent.
Children. Yeah, co-parent to the best of your ability so that the child's gonna be all right.
Right.
If you're acting like a child, what you expect from it spills out into the streets where these young people don't feel loved. They want to react, then they choose the wrong road.
Right. Because I had some kids, they talked me into being a basketball coach before the COVID started.
Yeah.
And I don't even watch sports. So I'm like, I wouldn't be good at being a basketball coach. But I just started going online, and I would teach the kids how to play basketball from what I seen on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, right.
And I had like 5 little kids that the first day I was like, I can't work with these kids. Like, what I'm gonna do? And I went to my principal. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't think these kids can play basketball because they're giving me too many problems. And she was like, just pull them to the side and talk to them.
Right.
And I didn't fuss at them. I ain't cuss at them like some people do. I seen in some of these schools. Yeah. I just had conversation with them, pulled them to the side like for a little time out with me and them, just one-on-one engaging. And before the season was over, out of an 8-week program, those kids in the 3rd week was the ones coming to me. Coach, can I take the basketballs out? Coach, you need to set up the chairs. How many chairs we need today? Coach, how many shirts do we need for this side? And how many? They turned out to be dynamic kids, and I learned a lesson myself.
Right.
There's no such thing as a bad kid. It's bad guidance, bad support teams. Like if you give these guys a chance and you just speak to them like a human being,
right?
Hey, they'll turn the corner.
Our young people get such a tough break they're not allowed to be children. They have to come out the womb and expect to follow the rules, expect not to break, any boundaries. And, that creates a frustrated, most adults can deal in an environment like that. An animal can't, a caged animal can't survive. They
Right.
even their freedom. But in our
Right.
school environments, it seems like they're under pressure to achieve when given minimal opportunity, just like the stability that you have. Are you okay? All right. The
I'm fine.
and we cannot afford for our young people to be destabilized.
No.
Yeah. So let's see. We have some more comments. I'm seeing homes in Joyland as high as 625,000, just like that's come from Waukesha. You can make TV. If you could make changes, what would you say the children need? Oh, if you could make changes, what would you say I'm gonna just rephrase it. What do you think the children would need most if you make some? And how can the community get involved?
I think the community could get involved by just showing support for this walk that we on now. And I think what this walk is all about is not just about Slater Elementary. It's about Black children. It's about Black schools.
Yeah.
Black schools are failing. It's not just my school. This is nationwide. This ain't just Atlanta. This happening in DeKalb County. It's going on everywhere. So what I would like to see change is for people to stop acting like it's not happening and realize that it's happening. And okay, now where do we go from here? Okay, let's put the brakes on it. Let's save our kids' schools and let's improve these schools for our children because they are the future. We got to light the torch now and we got to carry it now, but they're gonna pick up the torch hopefully and take it to the other side. But I would like to see our kids not only become to be average but to exceed because our school has has the best robotics like in APS probably.
Yeah.
Last year our fourth grade kids competed against Carver High School robotics team and they beat the high school kids.
Great job.
Fourth grade.
Sharp young people.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of our young people. But yet the state wants to label them an F. Got some more comments. I am loving Coach Arnold. That's come from Speckle Coop or Co-op. I say Co-op.
All right.
You're getting a great deal of support. And that's what we need, community. We need to support advocates for education, people who love children, just like we do. And I tell you, we need the White House to tell us that this is a national crisis on Black boys and girls. This is a national. Not only are they setting our children up for failure, but then they're trying to displace them through development. So if our children aren't learning, and then they're displaced and have no homes, no place to lay their heads at night, what does the future look like for us? Period.
Dark. I mean, the future. If you look at 5 to 10 years from now, Joyland community, pretty much we probably won't be here. A lot of families over here won't be here because they won't be able to afford to be here. The way they're doing things now, and it's sad. It's real. It's a real sad state of affair because I'm in a position where I work every day, but if I look around at my neighbors, most of them are old, retired on fixed incomes, but they are the grandparents that are the anchors for the kids that's in their 20s and in their early 30s.
Right.
So these people are going to be displaced. They're not gonna have anywhere to go. They're gonna have to move.
Well, I say, Bernard, part of the think tank that we're working on is to put some legislation in place to where we won't allow that to be so. I mean, we see the storm coming. So we put some things in place as relates to some type of tax breaks, or because it appears that these developers are coming in, rehabbing the house, purchasing the house, and then buying it again. So
just to raise the values up.
just raise the so how is that fair to the legacy residents or the people in the apartments when they're playing that type of game?
It's not.
So again, to our viewing audience, it's going to take all of us. It's just not one community. This is happening across the country, and we just mentioned purpose-built. And hey, the background of purpose-built schools and communities is Cousins Properties. They're heavily in bed with corporations like Google, Visa, Airbnb, which they're bringing to Atlanta. And these people want convenient housing that's located in the city and schools that are accessible for their children. It's not a cool thing to live in a $600,000 or $500,000 home if you got to bus your child all across town because the school is black in your neighborhood. So racism is an issue here. So don't be confused. Let's say we have another comment. We must hold our leaders accountable. The real estate people have contributed to a lot of their campaign. And that's Waukesha. And you're right, Waukesha. We have another comment. Is APS Board of Education responsive to the community? I'll let you. I'll go with let you get that.
Okay.
No,
APS board pretty much told us we were on our own because Purpose Built is not a charter school. It is a partnership, and they call it a partnership between APS and Purpose Built schools, which means that they don't have to follow the policies of APS. They only follow whatever policies Greg Gianelli make up over the night. So anything, whatever he decide, he the king. He's running thing, and they handed him the keys to the castle.
Yeah, and a prime example of that. Yeah, prime example of that is when he came out and said that Thomasville Elementary was closing, and the board hadn't made a decision on it.
They hadn't even voted.
They hadn't even voted, and when it was brought to their attention, they did no pushback on him. And now here we are in the middle of 3 meetings to close Thomasville when they're contractor. Now, mind you, Ray Gianelli and Purpose Built is a contractor of Atlanta Public Schools, not the authority, but that's how they treat him.
And let's be for real. When they told me that we was on our own, I was like, y'all pay Purpose Built Schools $31 million a year for this cluster. Who in the devil pay somebody $31 million and you don't have no say so? That's crazy.
Well, I give the viewing audience a little more information. Tom Cousins and Warren Buffett created purpose-built communities and schools. So if you're familiar with Warren Buffett is supposedly one of the wealthiest men in, I'm just going to say in the United States. They say maybe the world, but nah. In the United States. He's been to the White House with Obama. I'm sure he's been, Obama gave him the Medal of Honor, whatever. So they're close. And they push charter schools. They push charter and they push redevelopment of impoverished neighborhoods. Now, a little more background, viewing audience, and you do your research with me now. The superintendent that we have now, Dr. Heron, she came from Birmingham, Alabama. What's in Birmingham, Alabama? Purpose Built. Purpose Built is in Birmingham, Alabama. In the West End, and I'll tell you another thing that's strange. Millennial Properties, which purchased Forest Cove here in Atlanta, just closed on a purchase in Birmingham, Alabama. Units. So you see the theme that's going on here. It's a game. It's a national crisis. I'm telling you, black people. Hey, black, white, because people are married, black, however it goes. But if you have a concern and a love for black children, please pay attention. They're out for utter destruction. There's another comment. Bernard says we must get the contract canceled as soon as possible. And of course, he contributed to a lot of the board's campaign.
That's right. That's true.
Mainly, about 5 or 6. So these people are willing to, and that's Waukesha. These people are willing to move forward with a vote, and they're compromised.
So how could it be fair?
Well, of
It's
course,
not.
it's not. And this is coming from a board of education, a superintendent of education. Now, here you have two black men, two bona fide black men who definitely give a damn about children, and we fight like hell for them, but they don't want to listen to us. They want to listen to the developers and the people that use them as puppets to destroy black boys and girls. I never thought I'd see nothing like that in my life, but it's true blue. So we
Yeah,
need
we
your
do. We do need to get that contract canceled, and that's the fight. And Waukesha, um, I'm gonna need your support and everybody else support when we go to these meetings, and let's show that we got the people in place to show that we just not gonna sit back and be silent. Let's fill the boardroom up.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Bernard, the Atlanta Board of Education will hold the next public hearing on the closing of Thomasville Heights Elementary on May the 9th. Please arrive at by 5:50 p.m. to sign up for public comment. And I believe there's a virtual link as well. But you can go to the Board of Education's Atlanta Public Schools Board of Education site. We also probably going to do another rally. I believe in rallies. They know you're serious when you're rallying. There's one
Well,
thing to
please,
type of things.
please online because that
Say that
little.
again. You broke up. Say that part again.
Please sign in online and beforehand because they play a lot of games down there. The little iPad they got, it wasn't working. They said I wasn't gonna be able to speak, so it's a mess now. So please sign in online if you want to speak. Do that.
Okay.
That's my advice.
All right, but now is it okay? We go into some of these this presentation.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the audience can just understand that we're not just talking junk. We do our research, and here it is. So if Ms. Adrian pulls it up, we'll go into it. Okay, this is an analysis, school grades, Atlanta Public Schools. And of course, it's from 2018, 2019, but not much has changed. We're in 2021, and Bernard is pretty much giving you a rundown of what's happening with Slater. Okay, so all right. Just a little overview. This website provides school reports for all public elementary, middle, and high schools in Georgia. These reports include A through F letter grades based on school performance and other useful information about the school, such as performance on statewide assessments, the makeup of the school's student body, the graduation rate, and additional academic information. So they do a great deal of research, but yet there's no outcry as what's going on in Atlanta Public Schools, okay, the capital of Georgia. The Governor's Office of Student Achievement, or we say GOSA, graded 86 Atlanta Public Schools for the 2018-2019 school period, elementary, middle, and high school. GOSA graded APS a C overall. Now, in my book, that's not good, especially when you're Atlanta, Georgia, home of the 96 Olympics. Falcons, all these teams and big corporations moving here. Of the 86 APS schools graded, 19 or 22% were graded A or B. 46 APS schools were graded D or F, or 53%. So you can see the breakdown. Of the A schools, there are only 6, B schools, 13, C schools, 21 schools, D schools, 22 schools, F, 24 schools. So you see the percentages over there. Okay, interactive tree map, APS school grades by school location. Okay, Atlanta Public Schools school grades compared based on school location, Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, and Southwest. There's a note here. Southwest Atlanta has the highest number of schools graded D or F. So Southwest Atlanta, that's pretty much in Bernard and our communities. Of 30 schools in Southwest Atlanta, 21 were graded D or F. None were graded A, and only one school was graded with a B. Here, I know it may be a bit small for those, but you can see the breakdown The blue pretty much represents F, okay? And that would be the southwest area of Atlanta. You go down southeast, fares a little bit better, but still bad. It's mainly 6 F schools. And of course, I don't see, yeah, and maybe one A school. You go to northwest, you have about the same amount of F schools, but then you have, what is it, maybe 2 A schools. You go to the northeast, there are no, what can I say, D or F schools. So you see there's a disparity just in the locations within the city. A comparison of the school grades of APS 86 schools, East versus West, and North versus South sides shows school location may be a predictor of school performance and student outcomes. East, 11 of 31, 35% of schools located in Atlanta's east side were graded D or F. West, 35 of 55, that's 64% of schools located on Atlanta's west side were graded D or F. North, 16 of 35, 46% of schools located in North Atlanta were graded D or F. South, 30 of 51, that's 51% of schools located on Atlanta's south side were graded D or F. Okay, now here we have APS K through 5 schools graded D or F, 29 of 47. And see the list here, it's truly amazing. That's just really that's too many schools. And you think about the number of children in those schools. What's in a school name? So here you have prominent or historic Black names linked in with failure. We have the Obama Academy, Washington, there's Booker T. Washington. We have Carver, George Washington Carver, that great inventor. Alonzo Crim, I believe the first Black superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools. Dobbs, a prominent figure here in Atlanta. Frederick Douglass on the failing list. The recently, John Lewis, Invictus Academy, former U.S. Senator. Long Middle School, Mays, Woodson, and Young. So what's in a school name if they're relegated to failure? Where's the pride? What is the purpose of the A through F letter grades? Parents, educators, and community members should be able to quickly and easily understand how their local schools are performing. The A through F scale summarizes a school performance in a way that is commonly used and schools are performing. The A through F scale, and understand A school's letter grade is based on its college and career ready performance index. That's the CCRPI score, calculated by the Georgia Department of Education. Scores take into account state test scores, student academic growth on these tests, graduation rates, and other factors in addition. The school performance snapshots provide comparisons of schools and districts on specific metrics, such as literacy or graduation rate. Why is GOSA communicating these A through F letter grades? Well, it communicates letter grades so that parents and community members have clear and concise information on how their local schools are performing. This information will encourage parents and community members to understand the strengths and challenges of their local schools and will help focus improvement efforts. So to learn how the grades are calculated, you can visit the GOSA Frequently Asked Questions website, and then there's a link. So in so many words, it pretty much provides a roadmap to guide parents in their choice of neighborhoods and communities. And of course, they label our communities as bastions of failure. which is totally misrepresentative of your son and other children like him who are excelling within their own right.
And my principal shared with me too, like the milestone test
Yeah.
that the kids fixing to do now, for the next 2 weeks, coming starting next month on the 2nd, to the 13th. Those test scores show white people how many prisons they need to be building.
Yeah.
It's those tests and the questions that are on those tests, the way they're worded. She gave me a question from the test, just example, to see if I could get the answer for it. And from the wording, I couldn't understand it enough. So how could our kids even understand this? So it's basically the tests are set up for black people not to achieve on it in the first place.
Well, I definitely agree. And most of these tests are created by people from, and hey, you just have to take a hit on this one, the Ivy League, people like from Harvard. I was just to stick with Harvard because they heavily infiltrate the educational system, especially when black people are involved. This last superintendent has Harvard on her resume. I'm gonna throw Obama in there. I'm gonna throw Ernie Duncan, Julian Castro, that whole administration that pushed charters. Chicago is a prime example where Rahm Emanuel went in and wanted to close all those schools. So if you want black boys and girls to pass these tests, why are you closing educational opportunities instead of opening them up? Thomasville is a prime example. 2 years ago, Bernard, well, longer than 2 years ago, at one time, Thomasville Elementary was number 2 from the bottom in the state.
Right.
For faulty children. But yet, here we are now, they want to close that school because of an apartment complex, which we know what the real deal is. I go back to the cheating scandal, Bernard. Those children were robbed of great quality education. But instead of them taking the time to remediate those children, first thing they wanted to do was merge and close 13 of those schools.
Right.
Never apologize to those children saying, it's not your fault. You're not the one who cheated. And the cheating was more than the ratio of answers. They were teaching the children nothing because they knew they were going to pass in the end and get the bonus money. Why provide books? Why provide qualified teachers in math and science? They didn't do it. There's some more comments here, Bernard, that you can respond to. I see, wow, what the hell APS? That's from You Can Make TV. Waukesha, that grade system for the school determines where people will buy their homes and invest in the community. Correct. Those tests are not for our children. That's Waukesha again. She agrees. You Can Make TV. President Honor, you're so right. School to prison pipeline needs to be checked if purpose-built invested in prisons. And somebody passed, Waukesha said, also in Louisiana. And she says, they invested. You want to respond to any of those?
Yes. I mean, let's stop playing like purpose-built is just one entity. But if you I've been putting the pieces together, purpose-built schools, purpose-built communities, FCS ministries, Cousins Properties, Warren Buffett, all these people are affiliated. They all the same people with different names. I bet if we could get somebody to go in there and find out, I bet money that Millennial Properties is purpose-built. I bet you we could put them together. I bet we could.
They are. They are. Research pretty much says that they are because they are buying. Okay, and viewer audience, you can do this research too. Look up Millennial Properties. Look at the person who I'll say manages or owns it. He's from Ohio, finished at Cleveland State University. The Secretary of HUD finished at Cleveland State, Ohio. What a coincidence. But yet this guy is running a slum in Atlanta and he's not being, and the money is continuously flows from the White House.
They're getting paid.
They still getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Yet these people are facing, the people in Forest Cove and the children are facing displacement and their school being closed. So they want to play these games. And you see, we're supposed to be buffoons. We're just supposed to be, fit the stereotype that we don't know anything, but we're on a whole nother level. We see the game plan and we're out to stop this. This is a national crisis that we're talking here. Let's see, there's another comment, Bernard. In the news today, before people were convicted in our prisons are trying to get an appeal to be released from. Okay. Yeah. What Keisha talking about?
I saw that.
Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
They knew what they was doing, and it wasn't fair for the kids. I mean, if you ask me if I feel sorry for the teachers, no.
Yeah.
Because they sat down and those people who's in charge, the principals and everybody else, sat down with them people and told them, look, don't worry about teaching them kids. We're gonna get them through, and you're gonna get that bonus money. So they're guilty.
But now I had a bird's eye view because I was vice president PTA number 2 at Kennedy Middle School. And I worked that position like it was a job. I was at that school every day. And first I thought it was the children. Then I said, well, is it the teacher? But it was a minute. They provided nothing for those children. I mean, no guidance, over suspensions, no books, substitute teachers in math and science for an entire year. And so when I brought to their attention, they railed against me. And when I tell you the arrogance of these people, the top leadership, like they could do anything that they wanted to do. And it was a culture of fear and intimidation. A lot of good teachers were lost, but then a lot of people kept their mouths shut and allowed young Black boys and girls to be abused. And there are a number of young people who lost their lives behind that. Right. They were over suspended. They were out in the streets. I mean, you and I, we see these young boys on the corners.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them are gifted. When I tell you they're gifted and brilliant, but you see, they want to break those young men. In those schools, in those environments, they try to break young boys who have a backbone. Instead of showing them, okay, you made an error. Let me show you how to use your power. They break them so they get out in the streets.
Look at the water boys last year. Them boys, they from my neighborhood, from my community, and they've been up there hustling by the highway, making money. And, they wanted to stop that. And then Keisha Lance Bottom said, oh, well, we're going to stop them from doing it and teach them something else, which they never did do. So, you say you're going to put some resources over here, but they never do it.
Man, I say this is one of the worst places for Black boys and girls to grow up. I tell you, they provide nothing. If anything, there's a lot of pushback. Then they want to blame them. Those water boys, should be given credit for just taking the initiative to build a business. It's not easy to be on the streets. Now, I'd rather they not be out there, but it's not easy to be out there on the streets getting rejected, cussed at, yelled at. But you got to.
But they still bringing home them dollars home.
They bring because they need to eat. Our children are hungry. I mean, we're not we've been in this country for a long period of time, but the United States chooses to send $800 billion or 800 million, whatever the hell the number is, over to Ukraine, which really they don't give a damn about us.
Which show that they show that every day.
But Joe Biden, who wants to pick, well, I ain't gonna go through all that. I will stay focused.
Okay, but let's be for real. Like a dog got more rights than our little Black kids. And you can put your hand on a Black kid before you can a dog.
Right.
And I'm pissed off about it. And everybody should be pissed off about it.
And we're gonna do something about it too.
You damn right, because I value our kids, I value our children, and we gotta take them up under our wing. Moms, dads, if you see these families out here that's broken, that's why they say it take a village. Like, my neighborhood, my community, my neighbors stay across the street from me. If I need somebody to watch my child,
Yeah.
my neighbors can do that.
Yeah.
I trust my neighbors. I have a relationship with my neighbors. When we first moved over here in this community, we had break-ins and this and that. So what I did was I went around to the dope boy house. I was like, hey, how's business around here? He said, man, it's messed up because police over here. I said, okay, well, stop buying all the hot stuff that they breaking in these houses selling to you.
Yeah.
And let's get out here and police our own neighborhood.
Right.
So now when you come through our neighborhood, you don't see the police riding through here because there's nothing going on over here no more. We stopped all of that. And it didn't take but 2 weeks. We have, as a people, have to make a point in our own communities to enforce what's right and what's wrong, and to stand up to make a change for the kids, for the adults, for everybody. Because everything we got, it's great. It's great.
And the audience agrees. Bernard, they say, whoa, tell it, coach.
All right. I'm going to keep telling it.
And then they say, hey, in the news, let's see, I read that one. Oh, yeah, Atlanta slip is hanging. I love this. It's called Exposed. We need to have more conversations. Oh, yeah, and we will. Spec up. I say co-op. Hope that's right. Co-op. Coop. COOP. But, yeah, that's the whole goal. It's exposed, no fear, telling it how it is, calling it out, because, hell, somebody's got to do it. If we don't do it,
and
go ahead.
I was talking to Nathaniel last night about it. What I'm going to do from my school is I'm going to set up a PTA website for Slater Elementary School, and it's going to be for Carver and Price and Thomasville. And I'm going to invite other parents from other schools to do the same thing. I'm gonna set up this model and show them that we can't sit here and wait on the government. What's that lady name? Paula. Whatever her. Yeah, right. Yeah. She getting paid for being over the PTA of the whole city, but where is she? She not over here. She not at Slater. She not at Carver. She not at Price. She not at Thomasville. I mean, she come to the meetings, but what does she say? Nothing. She sit there. But
I have to agree.
I have a voice, and we have a voice as parents and people in this community. We have a voice and we have a choice. Either we can sit back and whine about it, or we can get up and put something in action. And what this website gonna do is, when people call in a complaint, I'm gonna send it to the people that it's supposed to go to, because a lot of parents don't know who to send it to or who's gonna respond to it in the correct way. So I'm cutting that out. They can come straight to me, and I'm gonna voice it to APS, and I'm gonna go to them, and I'll do it for any school. This is a movement. It's a movement that we're gonna change the lives of our children. We're gonna take this crap that they throwing at us, and we're gonna make it beautiful. That's my goal. You want to see what I want to do? I want to make it beautiful.
Hey, well, I'm with you. And like I said, when we met, I said, you know what? I think this is gonna be a pretty cool partnership, right? Because it's rather.
Hey, it works out for me.
You say what?
It works out for me, Nate.
It works out for you. All right, then. Because we're not talking about no BS, no who won this game or whatever. It's about children. And to be specific in this conversation, Black boys and girls. And in my opinion, that's something that should be fashionable in 2022. Right. People standing up saying, yeah, I love Black boys and girls. They're beautiful, the best. And we got a comment says, up you mighty race. Yeah, I mean, TV shows you that we have the entertainment locked down. We have the athleticism locked down. But the thing they do not want to showcase is the brilliance of our mind. And who possesses that? Our children. Mm-hmm. Our beautiful, gifted children.
Right. And when you say that too, you make it a point to tell people and let everybody know is we are the greatest people in this world. Nobody is like what you was headed to. Nobody more athletic than us. Nobody is better entertainers, comedians, actors, actresses, architects, whatever we set our mind to do.
Yeah.
We ought to look at Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods picked up a golf and bam, boom.
Right.
Look at tennis. I mean, whatever we touch and put our mind to, we succeed in it. So we gotta know that this is a gift that all our kids have, but we gotta light the fire.
You know, Bernard, this generation of Black boys and girls is by far the most exceptional group. Now, hey, we were probably the best in sliced bread since when we were growing up, but I have to take my hat off, and that's why they're so dangerous. That's why they're putting all these obstacles in their way: the music, the social media, all of this TikTok, all these distractions. And you see, we as a community had to pull those back. You remember back in the day when Dolores Tucker was running the truck over Tupac's music
and Two Live Crew and all that.
I guess we better pull out our truck and run over something.
That's because right.
Even though I felt like that was a bit too much, she may have had a point, but I don't think we were as far gone. But she may have seen how things were going to head. Maybe that was it. But her way of communicating that, I think she was on a certain high and mighty type thing. But we, just like you talked to the young man about, hey, let's change up your game. And the young man listened and look, he's not in trouble anymore.
Nope.
That's the level we have to be on. We have to, and we can relate because we real deal people. We're not trying to throw no book jargon and create no ABC process, because what's a damn ABC process to Black people in this country? So we tell them about survival and how to make it happen, but use common sense. We have a comment from Mr. Ed Johnson. How you doing, Mr. Johnson? He's got the Excel file, has 2 tabs. He's got grades, growth over time chart, grades, growth over time, filter data, columns, and the chart will automatically adjust to reflect the filtering. And I think, Adrian, do you have that? I did. Let's see. I know I had it on my. I did take some. If we can't see that, I think we can load that into the chat. Or, if y'all want to email me, you can. And hey, Mr. Johnson, if you're interested in being on the show with us next week, just let me know. This is the time to tear these entities down. People have to understand education is the foundation in which development and all these other projects come from. If you have a successful Black school, they can't develop in that area. But that's why you don't see so many Black successful schools. Now, they're taught charter, but see, charter is not neighborhood based most times. Those are young people come from all different areas. And see, that's the battle, that's the fight. Because if you have charters in your community, it may be a great school, but it's depleting the population from your traditional public schools. And when that happens, it causes that traditional public school to close. And if
we
go ahead, Bernard.
We losing over 30% of our families that are supposed to be at Slater Elementary going to outside schools.
Yeah. And what
30%?
30%, and that's a large chunk. And that plays on what's happening now, Bernard, with this Sizemore group and this facilities master plan. You see, they don't account for what not they do account for. That's part of the strategy as to why they want to merge and close schools in our neighborhoods.
Right.
They're underutilized. And I use Thomasville Heights, for example, elementary. If you have 80 students in that building and the school is an F, wouldn't you think it would be rational to take time to work with that low student teacher population so you can have some element of success?
Yes.
Yeah, but
But they don't, that's not what they want.
that's too rich
They
for them.
right. They don't want to enrich our kids. They want our kids to fail. Let's just be for real about it.
Yeah,
And I see your comment about holding APS accountable. That's what we here for. That's what this conversation is for. Them failing our little black girls and black boys. And we are gonna hold them accountable, and we are gonna keep showing up. Um, I mean, we gotta have. I say it all the time. We gotta have boots on the ground. We
yeah,
gotta be there as a united front. This is the movement. We're not talking about busing no more or none of that. We talk about our kids failing in school and they allowing it to happen. That's what we talking about now. So I want y'all to get angry and I want y'all to show up and show out. And when we do these rallies, please show up.
yeah.
Call
Please.
some of your friends if you can't come. Tell them to go down there and represent for you. I'm just one person, but I represent over 360 families at my school. But my voice gonna be heard for these kids, and I'm gonna keep fighting. And I appreciate Nate and everything that you do. Like, this is an important movement. I run my own business and I got my own child and everything else, but I take my time because I see how important this is, not only to my child, but to all our children, all of them.
And that's what it takes. Yeah. We have,
Yeah,
we have to have a village mindset. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, if your child is having an issue or doing well in school or regardless of the situation, wrap your arms around all the children, and those children will protect your child because they are going through it. Some people don't have the luxuries at home, but if we I have no children of my own, but your son Bernard is my son. That's the way I look at it, and I'm gonna fight like hell for, you know. And
that's right.
There's some people out there, I fight for their child, and they may not give a damn about me. But, you know, hey, you know, I'm a man, I can deal with that. But my role and responsibility on this planet is to ensure that the future is strong for them, is bright, and that nobody's going to mess over them.
That's a beautiful thing.
Hey, I love the calling. And, but again, hey, as a community, let's get in the mindset that this is a national crisis.
Right.
Even though, you know, damn a voting rights. If I haven't gotten it now, to hell with it. You know, these people get elected. All they want to talk about is voting. You know, we're going to get securities rights. But who does it benefit? We just mentioned that this entire board is co-opted and bought and paid for. The superintendent is bought and paid for. But these are the faces and representatives of our children who deserve so much. So let's let that voting talk die down. I mean, we need to go through it, but let's hold these people accountable as to what are you doing for the now, the children. You know, so I guess let's see, what is it? We need to know how to get. Okay, they need to know how to get the data for themselves. Again, now there's a website, the Georgia. Let me see, what is that? GOSA. And let's see how.
I just Googled my son's school. I just put in Slater Elementary and it came up.
Okay, well, thanks, Adrian. You know, Adrian's on the job, so I have to think so hard on it. The Government of Student Achievement is the place that you want to start, but also follow up on these developers. You know, we have a great deal of LLCs in our communities. Now, whether you're from Atlanta or not, find out what's going on in the local. If your local school has a grade of F, expect development to be coming in. Expect the rental structure, the tax structure to change in your neighborhood, okay, to displace you. How about like that? Hey, I know I may be talking to a black audience, but it's white people too. They're gonna get you as well if you moved in a neighborhood thinking that. I give you a prime example. Here in Atlanta, Howell Station, they're upset about what's going on with the Sizemore plan. They were supposed to go to Midtown High from Centennial. They bought their homes. They thought that was an easy trick. Now, Centennial traditionally is okay. Here's another site, APS Insights, to the viewing audience. That's another one that you all can check out as well. Okay. But with this rezoning situation, and I would say mainly the white community that moved Howell Station, and there are some people that look like us as well, but they're up in arms because they're zoned to go to Washington High School after they made a hefty investment for a home in Howell Station. Now, we know how prices are in Atlanta, especially with the $10 million house. I don't know if that's a hoax or nothing.
In the bluff.
They're locked in. They can't move to another area. And the reality is they moved into that area because they felt like it was more economical than anything else. So I guess in a sense, they have a right to be upset. But then when racism is kind of like the cornerstone of it, people can say, well, it's about a better education. Well, you can get a better education once you're involved in whatever school you're in, but it takes some backbone and fight, but that's what we're fighting for. And, but yeah, there's so many different dynamics to it, Bernard. But I do feel we are focused.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're a united front, even though we don't have a lot of bodies right now. We will as we move along. I'm confident that people getting the word out, they're hearing what we're talking about, they understand it, they see it for themselves. It's a movement, and we're gonna change our city, and like people really do look at Atlanta as a model for this country. So we really have to set a precedence here that we're not going to put up with purpose-built schools and all these charters coming in. No, we're going to hold Atlanta public schools responsible for our children. If we stay in Atlanta, I don't need my kids don't need to go to KIPP.
Okay.
I should have a good school for my kid to go to.
Yeah, and they should all be
I'm not taking them. Yeah, right. They keep saying it, equitable. Yeah, let's make it equitable for little black kids. Let's do it then.
Hey, with that being said, I think that's a good way to close out this show. Let's do it. Let's make things fair and equitable for all children in Atlanta. And we know who's been getting the short end of the stick. And that's our beautiful black boys and girls. I want to say, would you like to have some closing thoughts?
I just like to say to all my black people out there, I love y'all. I love these kids, and let's stand together as a unified front, and let's get it done. Let's stop talking about it, and let's be about
it. Hey, very well said. And I'd like to say, hey, I thank you, the viewing audience, and those who participated in the chat. It was great hearing your voice. But again, let's take that voice to action. I'd like to thank Mr. Arnold, Mr. Bernard Arnold, for being on the show. He's doing a great job over there, but he needs help. Needs us to assist with him. He has a great vision, and he's definitely in it to win it for the children. Again, there's a board meeting, which will be May the 9th. We will have some more information going out as relates to the rally, which will probably be between 3:30 and 4. We usually get out there and make noise, and that you have it up on the screen. For those who are interested in making public comment, and I say, let's inundate them with the comments. These people don't believe that we're for real. Well, I think they have an idea, but it's pounded into them. Okay. I'm gonna check the chats one more time. Leadership set up for those families, homes, greater cluster. Yeah. Okay. So I want to thank everyone who chimed in on the chat. Let's make sure we work hard for the best interests of our children, hold people accountable. That includes school board, but these development entities, the people all the way up to the White House, Warren Buffett's. And that way our children will have all the support and success they need and a great foundation to have a great quality of life. I'm your host of Expose, Nathaniel Dyer. I'd like to give great credit to Miss Adrian Coleman, who put the presentation together and who's running this show. And that's Square Mile Media. So Look forward to seeing you next week as we dive even deeper, as we expose the underbelly of corruption in education. Thank you and good night.
Mr. Dyer, you have 2 minutes.
The children exclaimed, "What about love?" I'm saying, what about equity? If you allow Thomasville to close, throw your strategic, plant facilities plan in the garbage. Because this precedent that you're setting with Thomasville, when you allow a purpose-built or contractor to make a decision on a tax-paid building, then you have no credibility. That is the greatest inequity of all, and you're supposed to have a department that's supposed to look at that. You know, there's stability. Stability for children is very important. If a child leaves an elementary school and go to middle school, they feel some kind of way about the old school. So imagine children who are attending the school and they haven't completed their cycle, and now you're shutting the door on them, especially after their building has been condemned. And the children have been living those conditions for a long period of time. So if you have any type of heart, you give those children some time to heal. And what about the solution of working with that low student teacher population? If Purpose Built is the group that's supposed to run it, why are they throwing in the towel if they have an effective system to bring those young people up to par? But I guess they don't. You work with the low student teacher ratio, then that's a recruitment tool when they plan to rebuild a place where you get more students to come in. That impacts Carver, that impacts Slater, that impacts all those schools. But you see, development is the name of the game. They use black boys and girls as scapegoats for failure to usher in development. Time and time again. Now, you know you're new here, but it's amazing how they bring superintendents here to ruin their careers. I'm against any type of school closure, especially coming out of a pandemic. The numbers that your group, that Sizemore group right in here, totally inaccurate. All of the white schools are full capacity. All of the black schools, low capacity. But yet, that's where the development is happening. If you're looking at statistics and art, they're talking about growth. So I would say reevaluate, get involved, because your blood is on your hands if Thomasville closed, and you're going to hear from the community. Thank you.